like to call to order the council meeting for the city of Fulton, September 11, 2023. And may I have roll call as soon as you get settled.
Wendy.
Here.
Alderperson Baker.
Here.
Boonstra.
Here.
Brondike.
Here.
Bergreich.
Here.
King.
Here.
Mask.
Here.
Van Campen.
Here.
Wilkins. Here.
Very good. We go on to the Pledge of Allegiance, and the flag is at the front of the room. We could all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, no appointments. Recognition of volunteers. Barb, you don't have any?
I don't, because one of the people that there were out of town and they just got back, so I needed just a little time to.
Well, that's okay. I didn't hear from you, so I assumed that.
I think next time.
Okay.
Will work.
Very good. Communication from visitors. Anyone wishing to communicate with the council? Nope.
Yeah.
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 Yes?
Yeah.
Oh,
They do.
yes.
They signed it.
Yes.
Yes.
Stand. Yeah, you can communicate with anything. You've got like 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get this. And you're here for?
Me and Sanal are here for the A1 liquor license.
Okay.
For the convenience store that we have purchased on 4th Street.
Okay.
And we would like to see if we can get it.
Have you gone through Renee and filled out the paperwork
We have
and
not
done
gone.
fingerprints? Yeah, it kind of going backwards.
Okay,
You have
well, I
to-
just
That's
wanted
okay.
to show up tonight, just introduce ourselves and just
Sure.
let everybody know that what we have in mind. We will proceed with the application and fingerprints. We had an approval before for the
Right.
branch house, so that. we
Yeah,
don't have
that's
any
the
background
process.
or anything
Yeah,
like
that's the
that to
process
stop
of
us.
Deem. I appreciate you guys coming and asking
Okay.
us personally, but it actually will go the other way. You'll fill out the paperwork and you'll get Chief to do the fingerprints and the background check,
Yep.
and then it'll get on our agenda, but I appreciate
Okay.
you coming and asking.
Perfect.
I am curious though, what are you doing down there? I mean, what, can you just give us a little synopsis? What are you doing down at the?
Well, right now we got the inside gutted. Hopefully by the end of this week we'll have a facelift of the whole outside. It's gonna get redone now, and we're just gonna try to clean it up and bring that place up to date. That is well needed, inside and outside.
So it'll be a convenience store.
It will be a convenience store, so I mean we'll have milk, bread. We're gonna do pizzas, breakfast sandwiches, lunch sandwiches, kind of every option we're thinking that will keep the place afloat. From your pops to some liquor options, beer, wine, maybe a couple hard liquors. Nothing full blown, just to bring traffic and have something for everyone in there. So we'll concentrate on nice coffee bar in the morning, fresh ground to fresh brewed, where you can have it ice, hot. We'll try to bring some nice machines that will do the job for you in the morning. And then hopefully we can talk to maybe a couple of the near communities to have fresh donuts brought in, maybe some pastries and stuff like that, but that's in the works. We'll see what we can locate.
So you're going to compete with yourself?
Well, not quite. I mean, I know there's a lot of people, we have a factory that's nearby us, and they support us a lot. They drive down there, but some have more time than others,
Right.
So, I mean, a pizza, we don't give pizza at our place, maybe they want a pizza and a pop, or maybe
Just on their lunch hour.
something like that, something quick, some kind of sandwich. Breakfast burritos in the mornings, are well sold. We sell them at the drive-thru with the coffee shop. Why not? Somebody wants to go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I think that location has always been very busy, right? Sue and Keith
Yep,
down there
it has.
before, has it always been a good,
Yep.
good market?
I don't want you to eliminate your drive-through coffee, okay?
No, so there's been a question about Eagle Brew moving at the convenience store. That's a no. So,
Okay.
The Eagle Brew will be part of the brunch house. We're not going to change that. we just want to
Well, that's
continue
good to know, 'cause
with the
people will
C-store,
wonder
you
about
know,
that.
being a C-store and just giving everybody an option to have in the mornings. In the evenings, we're planning to do pizzas as well, so we're gonna have a pizza oven, so you can pick up something on the way home or by the slice, you know, whichever.
You're gonna be open 7 days a week?
7 days a week, yes.
What are
Okay.
what are the hours?
Hours will probably range from 5:30 or 6 in the morning to probably 9 at night. So we're gonna try to keep it going all day long.
That's one thing, you know, just recently, it was last night,
Sure.
need a gallon of milk, it's 9:10 at night,
Uh-huh.
Shell's closed, everywhere's closed in town, we gotta go over to Clinton to try to
Okay.
find it.
So we're gonna try to work with those hours. If the community needs more from us, and I'm sure we'll get interactions with people, we'll be there and try to give them as much as we can to provide, you know, from that store. So.
I think it would be nice in the summer months too, down there, to have somewhere for the ball fields to
Yes.
go to. So.
Yeah, so we thought about that. We got the canopy there, you know, right now. Maybe by next year sometime, if we can have a couple of tables, you know, somebody's watching or waiting for a game, they want to sit under that shade and maybe have soft serve ice cream. So now it's all about the slushy. She's working on machines and stuff for the kids and
I'm all
whatnot.
about that soft serve ice cream.
Yeah, so we will work on that one. We're gonna see if we can locate some companies, you know, with the machines and have a couple of choices to have some kind of ice cream there. So that's what I mean. We try to kind of balance that place off from everywhere, from ice cream to bread, you know, milk. If we can do the liquor and this and that, so it kind of, you know, draws people from everywhere for everything to keep it going, because we're not gonna have gas to rely on there, you know. So we're gonna try to rely on everybody from a little bit from everything.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We don't have any presentations this evening, so we're going to go right on to the consent agenda.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adine. So, can I have a motion to
I'm
approve?
gonna have a question on the minutes.
Okay,
Can I do that now?
Yep.
Or do you want the motion?
well, I want the motion and.
I make the motion.
Okay. I'll support. And any questions?
Yes, and mine is on page 7 of the minutes, Tori. And the reason I noticed that is because in our financial report tonight, and that's on page 51, if you want to take the time to look, we have the same numbers, except that there's $100,000 that comes off the loan, leaving $364,000 to go into a fund. I think it goes in the TIF fund rather than the general fund, but I don't know that, so I'll clarify that by next week. But in the minutes, you have that there was $1,000 that goes back to the TIF, and it actually is $100,000, which is a significant difference there. So that's why I wanted to bring that attention, and it's it conflicted with what we had. But I just thought TIF money went into TIF.
It does.
Okay, so, but I'll clarify that in writing for our next meeting, but,
I'll make the correction.
Okay.
that's all.
May I have the motion with corrections?
So moved.
Support. Very good. Any other questions? If not, may I have roll call, please?
Alderperson King,
Yes.
Banker,
Yes.
Mass,
Yes.
Van Campen,
Yes.
Boonstra,
Yes.
Wilkin,
Yes.
Brondike,
Yes.
Bergrat.
Yes. Very good. With that, the motion is carried. We go on to business. That's number 9 on your agenda. The first one is a motion to approve the shirts with the city logo on them for council members and city administrators. And Terry is wearing one of those this evening,
Do you want
so
to
we
pray it
can
out in front
actually
here?
see.
Sounds good right here.
Looks very nice, and so we can choose our color. We can choose whatever we want, and
And the thread color can change as well. If you wanted to.
Terry, clarify me though, this shirt is to be worn when we are in some kind of an official capacity, right? With this NIMS that I'm hearing about?
The NIMS has nothing to do with the shirts. That's
Oh.
2 separate items.
right.
Well, then I'm confused. I thought that was the purpose of the shirt, is that we would wear that when we were in some kind of official
That was
capacity.
one of the examples.
Okay,
Yeah.
but one has nothing to do with it. Then why are we wearing the shirts? What are,
The council.
So people, there is how many people in your ward? There's a lot. They don't know who you are.
well, some do.
Some
I've been at a long time.
Say 50% of them know who Barb Mask is, and 75% of them go down to National Night Out. You're walking around, you've got a shirt on, Barb Mask on there. Other person, they put two and two together. That's my other person for this ward. So it's recognition for people seeing you out and about in the community.
But the council's not saying that we're requiring us to do that, because
No,
I
it's not.
probably
It's not.
would
It's
want,
a-
I probably would want to be there not in an official capacity, because.
It's not stating you're an official capacity, but it's also
But you're
letting
comfortable
people.
with it, okay. So this is an individual. But I am interested, and I don't know who to ask, whether it's the police chief or the public safety. I'm very interested in NIMS, once I heard you say that we are going to be involved in that. So who gives us information?
We have no choice in that matter.
Yeah, I understood that's what you said, but then tell us.
Well, I think that can be at safety, at the safety part, not this part. This is about the T-shirts, and so
Okay.
we're just going to recognize that, but when we get to.
I thought those two were tied together.
No.
That we were wearing
No.
the official shirts when we were out in official capacity.
That's
Thanks
an
for the
issue.
clarification.
Okay. There's a motion on the table. May I have the first and the second? Do I have any other questions? Okay, then roll call. Because we had the first and the second.
Alderperson Berggraf,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Brondike,
Yes.
Wilson,
Well, then we need to do it.
Did anybody motion in second?
We had the motion to.
He
Motion.
I motion.
You did?
for the
Yeah.
shirt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second?
Yeah, because we had to talk about it.
Okay.
I thought so.
I was like, I don't think there was a.
Okay. Roll call.
Yes.
Okay, Van Campen,
Yes.
Mass,
Yes?
Boonstra,
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Okay, very good. We go on to B, which is a motion to approve the Historical Society ordinance, which is in your packet on pages 42 through 47. We talked about this at length, and so it's just a motion to approve it. So may I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any questions?
What you really want is a motion to approve an extension agreement along the same terms as page 47, just changing the dates for the next 5-year period. I think is what you're actually trying to do.
Okay, so that should say that in the motion?
Yes.
Okay, did we get that? No?
And what they actually are wanting to do is extend the existing agreement for another 5-year period. So what we need is another extension agreement under the same terms as the agreement on page 47, but with the new 5-year period listed in the contract.
And then the secretary and I will have to come in and have you sign and her sign, and so
Yes.
before it's final. So
Yes.
we'll make a point to do that.
But everything was in the packet that we needed to find, so that,
So
the
I-
motion needs to read like that, so let's have a first motion and a second for that one.
I'll make that motion.
Very good.
I'll second that motion.
All right. And then roll call, please.
Alderperson King,
Yes.
Berggraf,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Mass,
Yes.
Van Campen,
Yes.
Wilkin,
Yes.
Boonstra,
Yes.
Brondike.
Yes.
Okay, we go on to letter C, a motion to approve grant an A1 liquor license to Embouchure Wholesale Incorporated, that's 1510 10th Avenue. That's Vicki Garal's business at the end of 10th Avenue. She's been waiting on this, and so she's asking again. I need a motion.
Make a motion
I
to
move
table this at this
to
issue.
table, oh, excuse me, go
I
ahead.
make a motion to table this issue at this time.
I second that.
This should have been put on the agenda for discussion, not to vote. We haven't talked about this. We haven't.
Well, we've talked about it
It
in
was been a
length.
long time ago, and
Okay.
we've got a number of new council members
Okay.
on the council. this should have went to the committee of the whole
Okay.
and then put on for a vote. So next meeting would be the committee of the whole, and then it'd be the vote after that.
Okay.
And can I just add, I agree with Keith, although he and I haven't talked about it, but this is a list of our liquor license that we currently have, and I don't think any of you have seen that.
I have.
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody
Good.
We all
has.
have.
Okay.
Everybody has.
And then you also have a copy of our current liquor ordinance? Do you all have a copy of that? Okay.
What
Those
do you
are
do in your
just-
book, Jackie?
Well,
But those are some things that we should talk about with them, because we created that ordinance a couple years ago. We ought to take a look at it, see if it's still what we want to keep.
And we absolutely can put it, and Keith, I wish you would have called me, we could have tabled it right away.
Well,
And
was-
that's not a problem,
It was
ever.
on the weekend that I read it.
Oh,
and-
okay, well, that's not
That's
ever
for
a
that
problem.
advantage of getting our packet on Thursday night. We
Yeah.
still have Friday then to get back to people, so.
Right.
if
so we
could
can't
I mean-
discuss that tonight?
No.
It has to be on the agenda.
It has to be on the
September
25th, yeah. So we will talk about it on the
I mean,
25th.
like Mindy said, she had no idea what this was about.
Right, and she
No,
called
so-
me,
yeah.
and I explained it as best I can, and some others have
But
called.
this should have been on discussion.
Okay,
So at that next meeting on the 25th, if somebody has a question or anything, you know, put that in the packet on that Thursday night, so then everybody has a chance to get back, ask a question. Okay.
I'd like to discuss the ordinances, and number of liquor licenses and everything. And
We
that
can
discussion
do
next
that
week.
next
Yes,
week,
Yeah,
yep.
I just wanna make sure that's written in the agenda.
okay?
To discuss the current ordinance and what do we want it to look like moving forward.
Okay.
That's right, and I thought you folks should get a copy of this and have time to read it before over, and then have a chance to ask questions about it.
Yes.
Very good. Additions and subtractions. I'm sorry, just a second. Okay. All right. We go on to the committee of the whole discussion and Dolan closing date. Do we have one?
We do not.
Okay.
So the
Surprise.
contract, no, it's not Dan's issue, it's actually our problem. The contract had called for closing by September 15th. We've ran into two delays. The first delay was trying to obtain title insurance in the first place, because the title insurers, which we need to do under the contract, but they are reluctant to insure facilities that they know are going to be used for cannabis production because of the contradiction between state and federal regulations. So we finally got that straightened out. That slowed us down. But then when we got the title insurance, we had a hiccup come up that is actually our problem, not his. So you had previously tried to sell 20 acres of this land to Geronimo Energy back in 2018, and at that time there was a memorandum of contract recorded with the county recorder's office. That contract was terminated in 2021 when they did not go through with closing by the deadline. There should have been a termination of contract recorded at that time, executed by both parties, and there was not. So I'm now trying to obtain that, but one of the additional issues I have run into is Geronimo Energy no longer exists. It's been bought out by another company. It's now National Brand Renewables, so I'm trying to make contact with their legal department. Finally, at least got a voicemail box for somebody within their company, an individual, not a general box, on Friday. I was hoping I'd get a call back today, but I did not. So I will be trying again to call them and see if I can get some movement on this.
So that just means we just need
We're-
that piece of paper.
We need that piece of paper signed and recorded to get rid of that issue in the chain of title, and once that is gone, then that clears the obstacle and we can push forward with closing. But it is a problem now on our end.
Do we need to do an extension on the closing date?
We may need to do that. I may have, bring that
Well,
to
yeah,
you for the agenda
seven-
next week,
15th
the next
is Friday.
meeting.
Right.
Because yes, we may need to extend the closing date past that September 15th unless I get this cleared by Friday, which is probably not going to happen.
Okay.
Oh, we'll follow the contract.
Right. Okay,
I mean, that's the reason the deal didn't get done, is because Toronto really got bought out and it just kind of went away.
Well, and then we had another person here, remember Bill
you had a second solar energy company
Yes.
that tried to come in and buy the same,
Sunvest.
Sunvest, yes, and buy the same parcel of land, which also did not go through. When that one was terminated, there was a memorandum of termination recorded that was taken care of. This 2018 contract is still sitting in the chain of title of the recorder's office, so it is a problem. We have to get it out of there.
Okay, we're gonna leave it in your capable hands and hope we go through.
I didn't remember that we actually sold them. I thought we, wasn't that
It
kind
was
of
just
a...
You had a contract to sell it to, it didn't go through.
Yeah, okay. You would
Okay.
think that would engage it, but, okay.
And then we go on to number 2, which is discuss the ordinance change for no parking on one side of the roadway. Nick, if you'd like to explain that.
Over the last couple of years, we've had some issues, especially in the winter time. And then Eric's also noted some issues on 11th Avenue from 10th Street to 14th Street, especially during school events and stuff like that, where when you get cars parking on both sides of the road, you can't get plow trucks, you can't get fire trucks, you can't get ambulances, and it's just too tight, it's constricting. So the first two on there is between the two of us, we'd like the council to look at amending the ordinances for no parking on one side of the roadway on 7th Street from 10th Avenue to 13th Avenue and 11th Avenue from 10th Street to 14th Street. Any questions on that?
Have these people been notified that this is gonna happen, that live there, in these residential areas? Do we not want their input? Do aldermen not wanna ask people in their...
It's in the council packet, which is also public notice. The issue still arises is if your house is on fire and you can't get a fire truck to your house because there's people parked on both sides of the street, what is your priority? Being able to park or being able to get emergency apparatus and making sure our plow trucks, and I physically watched a plow truck get towed out because it was stuck between two cars last year. And if at that point, are we going to start paying for people's cars when we start sliding into them and damaging them? The simplest solution is in some of our tighter areas, just eliminate that one side street parking.
And 7th Street, I've driven through there Sunday morning.
Yeah.
There's no way you're getting a fire truck or an ambulance through there. You can barely get an F-150 through there with inches to spare.
So
It's one of those things that the fire trucks and ambulances are getting smaller.
Well, neither are vehicles.
Yeah. Nothing's getting smaller, it's all getting bigger. And it's a pain.
At that point, then adding the next two, with the change in the parking dynamic at Unity, where we've gone from parallel parking to diagonal parking in the area of 10th Street and 7th Avenue, it's my hope and request to turn that intersection into at least a four-way stop, especially with cars coming up from on top of the hill, or going from north to south and peaking that hill is where we have a lot of blind spot issues, and getting proper signage out in that location. The other one is the stop sign in front of the middle school. We've placed the stop sign there. We just never passed an ordinance where we can enforce it, which would be, it is a temporary stop sign. It's during school hours. But as long as we put it in an ordinance that a temporary stop sign is placed there, we can then enforce it. That way, if somebody does violate that stop sign. Those are the four big traffic congestion or intersections. I'm open to input from anybody else if they have any other intersections that they feel need to be addressed.
7th Avenue and 9th Street.
Yep.
I was just going to say one that is not on this list that did not make it, and I've gotten some complaints recently, is 9th Street and 7th Avenue.
I thought that was what this one was, and it was just a misprint, but that would be one that I think that we need to address. Because that's a blind, you're coming up over, if
Where
you're
is
coming
that,
south.
Keith?
Right next to the water tower, line from
Oh,
both to the
okay.
north and south.
If you're going south on 10th or 9th Street.
Yep.
You come up over that hill at 7th Avenue, it's a blind.
I know where you're at now.
And people do speed on 9th Street.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
People speed everywhere, but that's okay.
And that's where this is a discussion. If you'd like to add, if you agree with these and you'd like to add 9th Street and 7th Avenue, turning that into a four-way intersection, that's what this discussion is about, to get it on the agenda and have our city attorney make some changes to the ordinance to come back. If that's something you want to do for another discussion the next time, and then move forward from there, that's up to you guys. That's what this is a discussion item at this point.
I'd like to add that one.
Okay, so we're gonna add 9th Street and 7th Avenue.
Yeah.
Stop signs.
Four-way.
And make it a four-way.
That one in front of the middle school, could we move that back to 12th Street and 6th Avenue? Make it a three-way? And then put a crosswalk right there? 'Cause a lot of times you got people trying to turn left on that, 6th Avenue after dropping their kids off.
At Unity?
No, in front of the middle school.
Just right at Unity at the...
Right before the preschool when you're heading north.
Going down by the county. Yeah. So add another stop sign there?
Get rid of the one in front of the middle school and just move that south to the intersection of 12th Street and 6th Avenue. Just do a three-way stop right there.
The only reason we really decided on the stop sign where it's at is because when Unity is trying to cross the road to bring kids to school, it just seemed like the more logical spot to put it, because then they're straight into the middle school, and that's really the only reason
That
why
it's there.
it's
Yeah.
where
Well, you
it's
got
at.
another sidewalk down there on 6th Street that goes diagonal to the front doors there.
I mean, that's something we can look at. I don't know if you, at that point, do we do a temporary or do you turn that into a permanent? I guess is the
I'd probably
question.
do a permanent three-way right there. And I saw this morning people stopping at the stop sign, letting kids off right in the middle of the road. Well, if they pull over, they can drop them off at the corner of 6th and they just have a crosswalk there.
In a perfect road.
In a perfect road. Yes, yes. We've all seen the park job.
There is no simple solution to the school pickup and drop off.
12th
I was
Street,
gonna
6th
say, I live on 6th Street.
I mean, that's, I guess we could use the crosswalk, just paint it there.
Terry, tell me again, I'm not getting where you're talking. We have a flashing stoplight on,
8th Avenue.
okay,
Or 12th Street, 8th Avenue.
yes,
So you head further north,
Yes.
you got tennis court.
Yep.
Right there. The
Condos.
next one is 6th.
yeah.
There's 6th Avenue and
Where
12th
those-
Street.
Turn down the roads to do that.
Yeah, those houses down around
Okay,
by Michael Clary.
Well,
no,
This one.
so it would be at the condos.
It'd be the street right before Unity.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah, I don't,
Street?
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, that's where all the condos
it's
are.
a 6th Avenue. Oh,
I know the daycare
Okay.
and preschool are Unity
6th Avenue.
have kids up at,
I know, I was like, what are we doing here?
What's that?
You work on that.
That intersection, yeah. Me and Eric just discussed it so I guess my suggestion would be is to put this back on as a discussion item next council meeting, add 7th and 9th to it, but we will discuss before the next council meeting what Unity feels would work best with transporting the kids back and forth to make sure that they're okay going down to the end down there. And then the discussion will be is whether or not you want to make that a permanent stop sign or a permanent three-way stop, or just leave it as a temporary. That'll be, either way works. I mean, it's just a decision, what you guys want to do there, so.
That one in front of the middle school, that's 12th Street now. That's just there during school, right?
Right. Because I know you've addressed it with me in the past that you have residents who don't like to stop there.
Oh,
so.
I have lots of people that do not like that stop sign there because they don't see anybody there most of the time that they stop.
And sometimes it'll be the time that they don't see anybody that they're going to run into someone, and that's
Well,
why the
then they
stop
think a
sign's there.
police officer, it's that important, they think a police officer should be for that half hour while children are there. That's the response I get.
And you know what, I 100% agree with that statement, so if you can find me more budgetary funding to put a police officer at all of those intersections, I'll be glad to entertain it.
I'll tell them.
Okay, let's go on. Number 3, where are we at in the band show in the new restrooms?
Foundation has been poured. We're hoping to work on setting up to pour the cap for it. But it rained today, so that'll probably be tomorrow's project. We're hoping to pour either Wednesday or Thursday, and then it'll be just waiting on the building materials or order. It'll be, he thought end of September, beginning of October, and I talked to Rudy with Petersheim, and he said that should work out fine for them.
Oh, great. I just had a call from the Kiwanis wanting to know where that was, so that's perfect.
Is that pavilion they're getting added on to as well? There's like
Nope, not at this time, the pavilion, because it's actually a couple feet in front of where that pavilion's at.
Okay.
In conversation with Kiwanis, initially they want to leave it there so that way bands can kind of stage their stuff, underneath that pavilion, and then, but maybe get moved later on. But at this time, they just kind of wanted to leave it where it was at and see how everything kind of plays out. So.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go on to number 4, and that's to discuss the bid comparison for upcoming pump and street light accounts. Contract with Constellation Energy expires in January of 2024. Now, I was given this by Tammy, who wanted me to explain it a little bit better. And actually, she wanted a motion, but I don't think we can make it a motion every once in a while. Can we at any given time add a motion?
a motion for it to be approved.
A motion, well, I'll talk about it and then you see if I'm correct. We get this bid, and this is just for the pumps and the lift stations. And Constellation, is what we use here for our electric, but this changes just like, the stock market. At any given time, this can go up or down. Well, they called today and it's down, so Tammy said if we could give permission to Dan to make the call, we would love this, because now it looks like Constellation is more than the others. But she said you have to figure in for June of every year, capacity charges are raised on all of these others. That's why we've always gone, she said, with Constellation. So she was asking for, on behalf of Dan, the ability to just make the call when it came, because she says they called this week and now it was down a little bit. And so today she says I could have said, yes, go. It was down just like a quarter of a penny or something
How
like
much
that.
money are we saving here? What's the gap between what high and
There's-
low?
There is a gap, but I don't know what that is, and Dan would have to explain that to you. But Tammy says Constellation is still our best bet. They just kind of wanted the permission to go forward, and we can put it on for another.
If it's something that needs to go to government council, it has to be listed as an action item.
Okay, so we'll have to have it on for next time. But think about that, to give them the permission to just do it, because like I said, it fluctuates so much. So, okay, I know what we're talking about there. And this, we do this in, when do we do it for city, Tori? September. So this is the same thing that comes up for the city contract as well, and it's always, Constellation is always one to bid, but this is just for the lift stations and pumps. So going on, we need to discuss trick or treat night, date and times. Anybody have a request? Halloween is on Tuesday, the 31st. They will probably have the Mardi Gras parade on the 30th. On Monday, we confirmed that. And their trick-or-treat night in Clinton will be Tuesday, the 31st. So,
We always prefer it to be the same.
right. That's,
That's
we just
majority.
thought we would do it sooner rather than later this year, because people are already asking, so. That is the consensus then, to have it on the Tuesday night. What times?
6 to 8.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Eric, sorry. Now we're talking to Eric, and he has little ones, so he was like, I think he wanted it 1 hour or something like that.
A lot more help.
Well, we can do it 5 to 8 for you, Eric.
Yeah, well, that's what I think he got us with. So,
They won't sleep for a couple days.
yeah.
I'll
A
just
lot
bring
of
them a
cities
big
do
bag.
go earlier in the evening.
They would enjoy it.
So there's still some daylight, and
But it's kind of cool to have it at nighttime because then the lights are all lit, so there's a,
A lot of people don't get home till 5:30.
right, okay.
we've always
What are
done
you saying?
60.
6 to 8. I'll put it on for an action item next time, so then the public knows.
6 to 6:50.
Okay, we go on to committee reports, finance, page 51. Any questions or explanations?
I made that one note to clarify that about where that money goes. We're working on a history of, now that we're completing our sale of our industrial park center. So we're started working on a history of it. We'll give you a list of everybody who's purchased property over the last 10 years and how much they paid for. Give you an overall fund. So we've started to collect, looking back and seeing what all we've sold in the past. So we're working on that. Yeah. Okay. We're still sitting, even with selling the property, at least about $5 million of debt. So just want to remind everybody of that. That's kind of what kind of debt we sit on, even with the sale of the property there. So we'll give you some additional information on that for our next one.
Okay, we go on to personnel. Sue, would you like to comment on what we decided on the personnel?
Oh, okay. We are down to 5 applicants, and we are going to be starting the interviews and to bring down to 3 of them, I think, is that
2 or 3, depends who bubbles up.
Yep. So basically that's what we discussed.
And we also discussed the exit interview that we want to put in as far as, and I think that's a good option, but we're just gonna do it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, we're going to include an exit interview with all employees that are leaving our community. We haven't put that in, and so the personnel committee said that would be a good idea. We had all the heads of the department here as well, which also agreed to that, so we have that that we're working on too.
We did an exit interview in the last city administrator. We did an exit interview.
Well, they don't do it on employees.
Oh, just
Okay.
we did, okay. Oh, all employees, okay.
Right.
I think it's a great idea.
Oh, it's a learning tool for the council. It's a good idea.
That'd have been
So,
a good read.
we go on to economic development. Do you want to set date?
October 10th at 4:30
Okay,
is our next meeting. We had one last Tuesday. Those notes will be in the next packet.
okay.
Yep.
October 10th at what? 4:30? Okey-dokey. Parks and Rec? Yeah, any questions?
Okay. We have a design up there. Eric was so kind. This is the one that the 3 of us had chosen. And both Jackie and Eric are working on grants yet. But that is the proposed design that we are going for right there.
So right now, our OSLAD grant has been submitted. We are, just waiting their approval or denial. They've had some questions back and forth, which Will Hoffman's been taking care of the communication between them. But it's just been, they want pictures of certain things, so which they already had, but for some reason they needed them again. So that's where we're at. That's kind of the design we went with. There's always room to tweak, but as we sit right now, we applied for $230,000.
Awesome.
So, and then there's another plan up here that includes like some of the landscaping and some of the other things that we're going to do. But right now, we're just kind of crossing our fingers and hope we get the 230 and we can push forward next year.
Good job.
Well, and if you notice too, the lime green area is actually an all-weather material. What's that called?
The rubber surface
The
matting.
rubber surface matting. And so it would all be ADA, handicap accessible. So if you look at the map here, all the park equipment's kind of shifted down closer to the pavilion, so it's making a smaller footprint for the park, which is something I think a lot of people will really appreciate, not having to go across the entire city block to get from a baby swing to a slide or whatnot. And then what it also does is you'll have a handicap parking spot that you can pull up to, and then it'll be a smooth way into the playground in the pavilion rather than being at the other end of the park. Currently, there's the big incline at that end, so that's kind of the reasoning as to why it's shifted down on
And
the map.
I know Sue is, in the past, she has wanted something wheelchair accessible for a swing, which is included in here, but that is the point of the matting. Anywhere through here, somebody that is in a wheelchair can get where they need to go, and even use the little merry-go-round that's in the center here. So it's set up to be fully ADA compliant, which is what the DNR is really looking for, but then it sets us up good for everything else. So
Yep, and if we do get the funding, we'll do the entire rectangle piece, but at least to keep costs down now, that was kind of a way that we are able to.
Is that the same turf that's up at the grade school?
Yes.
Yep.
That's so
It's
nice.
so great, and so
Yes.
obviously the goal will be to do the entire park if we can and avoid
Okay.
mulch altogether, but at the minimum, we'd be able to at least do a portion of it.
yeah, no matter what, we're going to push forward with this.
Yeah.
Regardless on if we get the grant or not, we want to move forward with this. So the rest of it, like the sidewalks, we can do the sidewalks. We just won't have some of the fancier landscaping that they were looking at doing, but it would be this for sure. So we're going to push forward no matter what. So with or without the grant, we're gonna move forward.
Good.
I also mentioned to Sue, I read in your notes here that you were thinking about relocating the equipment. I would encourage you to find out about that, because I know, like I just read where the school district in Clinton, nobody has any equipment on any playground that's over 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to me that when I was on the park committee, we talked about that before. We've got equipment up there that's 25, 30 years old now. I know the slide is much older than that.
Well,
Didn't you have somebody in a...
What
What
My
was it?
daughter fell off.
Yeah.
what we're looking at
The
doing
killer slide, they still call it.
is taking the stuff on the east end of the park, the newer equipment, and taking that and bringing it out to Cattail Park. So that way there's at least something for the kids out there compared to just the two swings and the old slide that are out there. So all the slides and all the swings that are up there are going to leave, and then the other stuff is going straight out to Cattail, so that way that has been upgraded.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah, because
As long as
the
it meets
swings
the-
and that are new,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so are them riding.
Yep.
Those are all new, and those are be going out to cats.
So essentially, we'll get 2 parks upgraded. So,
Yes.
Okay, we go on to public safety. Jerry? Anything?
I think I already talked about the meeting from 8/14. We did have a meeting before our canceled City Hall meeting on the 28th. Nick's got it set up. This Friday we're going to go see Sterling. We're going to meet with the city inspectors there and kind of go through their processes, anything that they want to change or would have changed to kind of get things rolling. We also reviewed a rough draft of the EOP plan. It's coming together. Nick's going to have another revision down here for our next meeting, September 25th. I'm going to try to see Sterling's EOP while we're down there. We'll see if we can get our hands on it.
Well, thank you for your continued work in that. That's a great thing. So, any questions?
Yeah, what about the NIMS? Where do I get to ask about that?
Right.
You can ask her right now.
Right.
What's the acronym for?
National Incident Management
System.
Systems. And how are we involved individually as alderpersons?
So in order to get funding from the federal government and state government, anyone that's requesting that has to have NIM certification. Just like the derecho we had, how much did we spend in removing trees and debris? That would have been provided by the federal state government.
Clarification. It's not so much the cleanup aspect. Unfortunately, with more of the derecho, the understanding needs to be had is we weren't declared a net disaster area. So the state didn't come in, didn't declare us a disaster area. So even if we did all have the NIMS compliancy, we probably still wouldn't have got funds for that cleanup aspect of things. The important thing to note with the NIMS certification across the board for the elected officials is the disaster mitigation in the front side, applying for grants, resources, and different things like that. One of the things they're going to look at is if your elected official board in certain positions within the city are holding the proper NIMS certifications before they're going to award you perhaps grants for these mitigation projects. Might be storm sirens, might be retention ponds for flood areas. There's just a multitude of different things. But that's where the importance to being NIMS compliant is for all the elected officials is when we go after and seek different types of funding and grants, we can say, yes, we as a community do hold those certifications.
And how do we go about getting that?
That would be a 2 to 4 hour class at the fire department. I'm sure that
We're working on getting that set up. It's
We've
going to
discussed
take about
this
3 or 4
several
hours on a Saturday.
I must have been gone, because I didn't know anything about it. We must have done.
Well,
Yeah,
it-
we've discussed this with you here a couple times.
We're getting that put together. We're hoping by the end of October to have some dates out there. It'd be a Saturday morning down at the fire station, and we would facilitate the testing down there.
And Jeff and I will have to do more training, and that will be a couple days, and we're both okay with that. So.
And to clarify the shirts, where your question arose with those, in the event of, say, there was a disaster in town, and Barb, you were asked to come here to facilitate meeting with individuals, having a shirt that would identify you is where the NIMS talk got wrapped up into it those couple meetings ago when we were involved in those conversations.
But you won't be required to wear this shirt at events if you don't want to. So, are we all okay? Then we go on to Marina. Any questions there?
How many boats with no owner identified do we have down in Marina?
We got them all identified now.
Oh, that's good. Perfect.
Yeah, there was just some, what they did was with the inner marina being so low, some people had taken their boat and moved it out to other slips,
Oh,
but didn't
sure.
tell anybody.
Sure.
So it's like, well, whose boat's that?
Yeah.
But then there's other boats that were in the inner marina, but they didn't give us, like, each boat has a number on it. They didn't give us our identification number, so we didn't know whose boat it was until we started looking through everything that we had. Yeah, everybody down there has been paid for. They just move slips.
Gotcha.
Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll go on to tourism. Anybody have any questions other than what's in your packet? Busy, busy, busy.
Yes, we are.
That's good. Go on to zoning. None there. And the budget needs for next year, signs, code officer, tourism. At any time, anybody can give me any request to add right there. So I think it's nice that we keep those right in front of us all the time so that we won't go, oh, I forgot about that. But that's what that's there for. It will stay there on the agenda until we get our budget needs
Well,
met.
I'd like to see us add sidewalks, because I think we've made an
Yep.
attempt, but we are a long way from where we
Perfect.
need to be.
That will go on. I think streets in general, but we'll do sidewalks and streets. But
When do we do budget planning?
that comes in January, and then we make the final decisions. We start in January with our planning, and then it goes to April.
It's a long process.
Oh, I thought it started in October.
No.
Okay.
No, it starts in January, and then it's
I'll Budget
ended
years
in
too.
April.
What?
Budget year goes from May to,
Yeah.
a
Mayor's
lot of them go
report,
till
I don't have
October.
anything, so let's go on to the Alderman's report. Ready? And we go on to city administrator's
Or
report.
can I just, on an Alderman report, I'd like to see us, have an agenda item on the committees and the role of the committees. There's good information in the IML book about what a committee does, and I'd like to just have that on as a discussion item, what committees, what their roles and function, and talk about it, so we could put that on next time, and every committee with a question or what do the committees, what their functions, so, okay.
It'll be on there next time. City administrator's report, and he, Dan put this, he's going to include this, well, he only has September, I guess. He wants to have this one time a month in our packet, so that's what you'll see there. And so if you have any questions for him, he's available to call. When we go on to the chief of police report, it's in your packet. Do you have any questions?
Good job on the national night out.
Yes.
Already started the planning process for next year. Next year sounds like we might have a band show, so.
It does. It does. Public Works Director report is on 73 through 74. Do you have any questions for Eric? Hearing none, we'll go on to the Historical Society report, and there's nothing to report there. And we do need to go into closed session, so I need a motion in a second, and roll call please.
Closed session to discuss.
Litigation. Well, it's on, we always have it, but I will say it. Yes, litigation.
It says personnel litigation, sale of property.
We put it on there every time just so something comes up, but this evening it's on litigation. Thank you. But we still need a roll call.
Okay. Alderperson Van Campen.
Yes.
Wilton.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
Brewster.
Yes.